You know that feeling when you're scrolling through a dozen binocular listings, and every headline promises crystal clear views, but you're also terrified of dropping a few $100 on a pair that ends up feeling like a paperweight or, worse, never lets you see the thing you actually care about? I get it. The hesitation is real because you've probably spent time reading forums, watching shaky YouTube unboxings, and wondering if the extra magnification is worth the extra bulk. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the Vortex Kaibab HD 1856 and see if it lives up to that high-end label without turning your outdoor adventure into a workout. First off, this isn't a binocular you'll toss in your pocket for a quick walk in the park. It's built for people who spend a good chunk of a day out in the field, whether that's a birdwatcher tracking a rare raptor, a hunter scouting distant terrain, or an amateur astronomer trying to catch a glimpse of the moon's craters. If you're the type who wants to see fine detail at a distance that most standard 10 or 12 models can't deliver, you'll find the Kaibab's 18 power compelling. If you're looking for something you can carry around for a casual hike, you might want to keep scrolling. What makes the Kaibab stand out is the APO optical system with extra low dispersion ED glass. In plain language, that glass reduces chromatic aberration, so the colors stay true and you don't get that rainbow halo around high-contrast subjects. I've read enough discussions where users describe a clean image when they're looking at distant foliage or the feathers on a hawk, and that's exactly what the ED elements aim to provide. For practical use, this means you can actually read a license plate on a car 400 meters away or identify the pattern on a pheasant's wing without the picture looking washed out. The focus wheel on the Kaibab is deliberately slow and precise. When you're tracking a moving bird at 18, a jittery focus can ruin the whole experience. The fine control here lets you make micro-adjustments without overshooting, which is a subtle but noticeable advantage over cheaper models that have a clicky focus that feels like you're turning a dial on a car radio. In real life, that translates to smoother panning while you're following a soaring hawk, and less frustration when you need to refocus on a static target like a distant mountain peak. Durability is another angle that matters once you're out in the backcountry. The Kaibab is wrapped in a non-slip rubber armor that's both shock-resistant and waterproof. I've seen people describe how a sudden drop from a low branch or a splash through a shallow stream leaves the binoculars unscathed, and the rubber coating also gives you a firm grip when you're holding them with gloves on a cold morning. The ultra-hard armor claim isn't just marketing fluff. It's a practical safeguard for anyone who expects to push the gear into rough terrain. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. At 18 magnification and with 56mm objective lenses, the Kaibab is a hefty package, well over 2 pounds in most cases. That weight makes it almost impossible to hold steady for any length of time without a tripod or a very steady hand. If you plan to use them handheld for extended periods, you'll likely experience arm fatigue and noticeable image shake, which defeats the purpose of that high magnification. In practice, many owners end up pairing the Kaibab with a lightweight tripod or a monopod, turning it into a semi-stationary setup. That extra gear adds cost and a bit of bulk, so factor that into your budget if you don't already own a sturdy support system. Another practical limitation is the field of view. With 18, the visible area shrinks considerably compared to lower power binoculars. In a forested environment, that narrow window can make it harder to locate fast-moving subjects because you have to sweep the area more precisely. For someone who enjoys scanning large open fields for game or scanning the horizon for migrating birds, the reduced field of view can be a bit frustrating. It's not a flaw, just a physics consequence of higher magnification, but it's something to be aware of before you commit. Eye relief is decent, about 15mm, which is friendly for people who wear glasses, but the higher power means you'll need to align your eyes more carefully to get the full image. If you're an eyeglass wearer who prefers a more forgiving eye box, you might find the Kaibab a little demanding, especially after a few minutes of use. That's not a deal breaker, just a nuance that can affect comfort during long sessions. So, who should buy the Vortex Kaibab HD 1856? If you're a serious bird watcher who needs to differentiate subtle plumage patterns on distant waterfowl, a hunter who wants to spot game before it spots you, or a hobbyist astronomer who wants a portable way to view lunar details, this binocular gives you the reach and image fidelity that